We got 2 days before the NFL 2022 season kicks off. It's only football. But man, football for some people puts a big smile on their faces and makes life a little bit happier. And I'm one of those people, and I'm sure if you listen to me, you are one of those people too. Now, I'm a Dolphins fan. Most of you guys know that. Doing this job, I'm a little bit of a schizophrenic because, when I cover a team, I say that I am going to cover objectively with a little push towards being fan-friendly because that's what it's about. It's about fun. So I've been covering the Bills for a year. First team in my 40 years of 2 years or whatever it is watching football that I watched another team from week 1 to week 17 through their playoff run other than the Dolphins. Now, to be honest, I want the Bills to lose to the Rams. And I want my Dolphins to beat the Patriots. That's scenario 1 that will put Curtis in a very good mood. But scenario 2, I don't like that either if the Bills lose and the Dolphins lose and the Patriots are number 1. Because when the Patriots started their run, I had hair, and I kind of think they're a little responsible for knocking the hair out of my head because it was a horror show. For all those years, I was a complete football fanatic watching them do their thing. So I really don't like the Patriots. Jets are right there too. Bills, they gave me PTSD in the 90s. But Allen and just really covering the team and from a football standpoint has me, in a sense, rooting for them as long as it's not interfering with my Finns' interest. But they're the team kicking it all off this year after a long off season for me. A lot of health issues and stuff. So I'm hungry for this game. And to see the Bills go against the Rams to kick it all off is going to be great football, whatever the scenario turns out to be. And I'm going to cover today the key matchups for me in the Bills versus the Rams. And this is going to be a very fun night. I'm going to have my kids watch the game with me. I'm going to get a little extra treats that I don't usually eat to really enjoy it. Now, it's not going to be as tasty as Sunday when I watch my Finns play, but man, this is going to be a good game. So before I dig into all that stuff, the matchups and the key areas and what I think the actual ultimate outcome is going to be, just want to say thank you for all you guys stopping by. I'm a nasty Finns fan, and a lot of you Bills people come by and are real nice to me. So I'm very grateful for everybody that comes by and really just sees the football aspect of it and sees us all as people and fans and doesn't really get the hatred thing into it. So I'm grateful for all the likes, the subscribes, the comments, and the views from all you people. But I also want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Ace Per Head, because my wife talked me into listening to them to do this little gig here, and I didn't want to do it. And I'm really happy because now I actually get to talk football, study football, and I make a living off of it. So I'm grateful to you guys and to my sponsors. So here's a shout out to Ace Per Head. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. I'm not really super savvy with the Rams the way I am with the Dolphins and to a lesser degree now the Bills that I've been wearing them for a year and a half, getting to know the team, hearing a lot of comments from the fans. But I kind of know them. I watched them through the playoffs last year, kind of understood what they were about. And when you go back and you watch the Super Bowl, the Bengals were ready to take it. But to me, from what I saw was the superior offensive line of the Rams stilled and started bringing consistency and a calm to both Stafford and the run game. And they were able to put the platform for the Rams to finally go ahead and take the win. Now that offensive line, it's been chopped up a bit and moved around. And to me, that's the key piece. And I'm going to get into that, the matchups between the two offensive lines against the two defensive fronts, and that's really interesting stuff. And I think that's going to be really the main piece of the puzzle. Obviously, Allen versus Stafford is going, but the offensive line sets the tone for all this stuff. Although Allen, because of his moving skills, to a lesser degree than Stafford. But the first thing really that stood out when I started looking at the teams was the matchups between the secondaries and the receivers. And it really is, in many ways, lopsided. And so I really think this is going to be a fairly high-scoring game. And both teams are going to have to put points on because one team is certainly going to score 30 or high 20s. And so there's going to have to be a regular scoring event. And it looks that way when you look at these matchups. Now, from the Bills' standpoint, Davis and Diggs aren't as good as Kupp. But together, they are a more potent force because I'd rather have two very good receivers than one great receiver. And you add in McKenzie and Shakir behind that, and you look at Ramsey's a great corner. He's really going to neutralize or really battle out. I would say put a limit, although Allen is going to really make it difficult, on either Diggs or Davis. Belong Jr. and Hill, that's the second and third corner, they don't stand a chance against Diggs and Davis, in my opinion. And McKenzie's going to make it rough, too. And so, really, with Allen, his ability to move, to make plays last, and to get that ball off after some scrambling around and movement, and then just the sheer greater depth of talent on the receivers of the Bills versus the Rams, it puts the Rams behind the 8-ball. Now, in the same token, if you look at the Bills' secondary, you got Jackson, Johnson, Elam, and Benford. Now, you got one really good, pretty good cornerback, top 30 cornerback in there, but then you got a lot of unknowns with these rookies. I like what I've seen from Benford, and I like what I've seen from Elam. Now, I don't know how much each one's going to play. I'm sure one of them is going to get a lot of reps. But they're still rooks, and a cornerback is a notoriously difficult position. And to me, Kupp is going to dominate big time somebody. But because you got Poyer and Hyde, it's a big, big backdrop to help out and kind of double on Kupp, who's still going to get his yards. He is still going to make hay. But you can limit it a little bit more than, in my opinion, what you're going to be able to do with Davis and Diggs with only really Ramsey's and, a quality safety group, but nothing like Poyer and Hyde. Now, Robinson III, he's pretty good. He's a long-standing vet. He's able to make hay. I would put Kupp, obviously, better than Diggs and Davis. And I would put Robinson under Diggs and Davis by maybe like 2 levels. But because of the lack of talent and the rookie-ness of the rest of the group, he's going to have a pretty good day when you add in Higbee as well, the tight end. And so it's really going to come down. Both these receiving groups are going to get off. They're going to have opportunities. And it's really going to come down to the defensive fronts putting pressure on these quarterbacks to hurry them up, make them make a big mistake, and get that sack to throw things off. Because without that, it's going to be like poop drew a goose on both sides. Now, offensive lines. Even though the Rams have basically had some big changes on their offensive line, they're still pretty good. And the Bills, they made a lot of additions that I really like. I think their offense of line is going to be very good too. But it's a very interesting matchup because then you have unbelievable defensive fronts against these offensive lines, and the individual matchups and what can really happen throughout that is going to be highly interesting. And I'm going to dig into those matchups. Now, I was on Mafia Sports Report. Tommy and I do a little show, and we're starting to do some live stuff. And I'm going to do a live show with him on Friday. And his co-host for his Bills show is Mikey. And Mikey's a great guy. Tommy's a great guy. Mikey's a great guy. And Mikey really was putting a big onus on Von versus Noteboom, who is now filling in at the left tackle spot. And he really brought up a good point that because of the rest of this offensive line of the Bills, it's going to isolate Noteboom on Von. And Noteboom's really underrated guy, but Von's a beast. And I have to agree with him on that. Although, another point he had too was that Oliver can kind of get to that same side as Von, and then you're going to have both those guys working together, which is really a big problem. And I agree with on that because my accentuation point to that, with the Bills attacking the Rams offensive line, is that Edwards is a good left guard, and Noteboom is a good player, and we're going to see how he does at left tackle. But Oliver's really starting to come on to his own. And Von is a unique figure. And so even when you got Noteboom and Edwards quality, I don't really like that matchup so much with Von and Oliver. And I'm expecting to see some stuff come through that because if you look at Allen and Shelton, Allen's the center, Shelton's the right guard. Shelton's played center. He's a small fry, 299. And I might be like overestimating it. And Allen is about 300. So there's a little bit of smallness there. And Daquan Jones, what was his name? Yeah, Daquan Jones is a big dude at 322. And he's starting to come on to his own. I watched a little bit of tape, and last year I started paying a little attention to him. I don't think he played too much, but he's really starting to blossom, and he's a big guy. And so if you move an Oliver to the left side, and you got Daquan to the right against Shelton, I can see him absorbing those two players, leaving Oliver, Von on their own. And Rousseau I like, but what's the other dude's name? Havestein, he's a good right tackle. And I think there's going to be a quality play back and forth. Havestein's going to lose some, and Rousseau's going to win some, and back and forth. It's going to be more of like a stalemate there. But if Daquan can absorb the center and the guard position, leaving Oliver and Von on their own, there's going to be a lot of pressure. And despite the advantage of the receivers against the Rams, against the Bills, kind of limping secondary, that pressure is going to get Stafford moving and get him antsy. Stafford's a really good quarterback, but you saw that when he gets pressure and that nervousness to get him on the move, he makes mistakes. Where converse, you got Dawkins and Saffold I really, really like. Together, they're really good. Saffold's got a little bit of weakness in his pass defense. But Aaron Donald is the best of the best of the best Hall of Fame superstar guy. He's John Randall and probably even a little bit better, which I hate to say because I love John Randall. He's going to put a lot of pressure. He's probably going to move back and forth. And when you got Gaines and you got Robinson, Robinson was a monster last year. Watching him in the playoffs, he was a handful for the Bengals and all the way through. And so, and he's a big guy too. So while I like Dawkins and Saffold, I really think, especially in the run game, they're going to be able to really do some business. My focus is going to be Morse and Bates. Now, Brown's going to be out, back surgery, and Quisenberry's going to be in. I like Quisenberry. But to me, the focus of really where you're going to have problems, I mean, Donald's going to get his way wherever he goes against. Just it's going to be limited a little bit more depending on who he's going against. But against Morse and Bates, I'm a little concerned because Gaines is going to be a guy that could actually challenge the physicality of Saffold and hold him together. And then, Donald is going to either A, go against Quisenberry by himself, or he's going to go against Bates or Morse. Or you can have it the other way where Donald is going to occupy Saffold and Morse, and then Bates will be on Gaines or Robinson by himself. And this is going to be very interesting matchup. And it's why I think, where I don't like the Rams' run game, I think that the Bills with Saffold, who really can go against all these guys and make hay, the run game is going to play a very critical part. Because the more they can get that run going and kind of let that clock roll, beat these guys up a little bit and get that play action, get that boot for Allen. Because to me, I'm going to be interested to see, are they going to have Allen do lots of runs? Are they going to do the inside runs and do the play action, get him on the boots to throw and all this stuff? Can the Bills actually get a run game going? Because I don't know if the Rams are going to get a good run game going against the Bills. And so while I think that they have an unbelievable front, and you got Bates and Morse, who I'm concerned with, I think that could be mitigated with the run attack. But it will be interesting to see. Now, for the Bills, it's a lot better news than for the Rams. Because with Stafford, he gets antsy and nervous, and he doesn't have the movement skills of Allen. Allen is calm, cool, collected. He has the movement skills, and he's big enough to break some of these tackles on top of all that. And so this, again, while this going to be points going either way, and I do see real opportunity for the Bills to get pressure on Stafford and get him nervous. I do see the opportunity for even the Rams to get pressure on the Bills with Allen. Allen is the wild card, the big wild card. He's got a bigger arm than Stafford. He's got the movement skills. He's got the power to break the tackles. And he's going to put pressure on the perimeter with his legs, even if it's not to run, just to boot out, which is going to kind of force the D-line to play a little bit differently than the Bills are going to have to play against Stafford. And that's the final X factor for me. I think there's going to be points going back and forth. I think there's going to be big defensive plays on both sides to get pressure. But I really believe in this run game for the Bills. I've been talking about it for a while, and I really feel they're going to push it. Not to the point where Allen's, handing it off like Mac Jones or anything, but it's going to come to a balance where the defenses are not just going to be thinking about pass. They're not going to be just thinking about Allen. They're going to have to kind of focus on this run game, and then that's when Allen's going to come up big and get that extra point, get that extra first down, and it's going to swing this game to the Bills' side, and that's who I think is going to win. I think it's going to be a maybe 7 to 10 point win by the Bills. I think that they're going to take it because it's just, I know there's real weakness in that secondary. But Allen adds a whole different flavor, and I kind of like the offensive line better for the Bills, and I like their potential for their running attack better for the Bills than the Rams. And I think the lack of a run attack last year is what really kind of doomed the Bengals, and the lesser offensive line as well. And this is why, along with Allen's sublime talents, they're going to pull it off. We'll see. Anything can happen. it really just points to the quarterbacks having to make that extra play, handle pressure, and I like the run game to bring balance, to sway the game in a close one where I think maybe in the fourth quarter there's going to be a pull away. So anyway, this is my take. We'll see how it plays out. I'm real excited to see how it plays out. Bills fans, I love you, except when it comes to my Dolphins. I'm hoping my team is first place in the division, and you guys are not. I wouldn't bet the house on that, but I am hoping in a friendly way. It's only football, really, and it's about fun, and I'm grateful for you guys stopping here, and I do really mean this. Good luck to you guys. And Allen is a class act, and it's hard not to like him. Again, as long as it doesn't interfere with my Dolphins, I hope you guys have a great season. See you on the battlefield soon enough, and I'll see you next time in the podcast after this big game. It's going to be a fun one for football lovers. Curtis saying thanks for staying to the end. Catch you next time. Be well. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.